Wednesday night at the movies.
Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday. That's a different night for movies. We're at Frank Theaters in Conway, South Carolina. Phat Guys at the movies. We are back.
After a week off?
Yeah.
Which was kind of my fault because of scheduling. I couldn't get to see
I was here.
last week's movie.
Yeah, and then you got sick.
Yeah, and it was kind of going around our workplace. You know what I mean? So, but luckily I didn't.
Between that and all that green stuff that went up your nose.
What are you on green stuff?
You know, that pollen and
oh yeah, well that definitely contributed, right?
Pollinated science.
I think yellow though, pollen.
Yeah, that's true. But we watched the premiere of G.I. Joe Retaliation, number 2 in the G.I. Joe series, and
surprising number 2 because the first one we didn't like so much.
Yeah.
Not a great movie.
Yeah, this one put some star power in it because it had Bruce Willis and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Do you smell?
Yeah. Are you ready to rumble?
Yeah, you don't get the people's eyebrow. You don't get any wrestling phrases.
Yeah.
But you know, The Rock is in it. Bruce Willis is in it, and a lot of the actors that were in the first one gone.
Yeah,
right from the start, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I'm not going to say who it was, but I was really surprised when one of the main characters from the first one was gone within about 20 minutes.
I don't think it hurt the film any at all.
I think it actually helped the film.
I think it might have. And one of the best things too is they got rid of some of the characters from the first film who didn't even show back up in this one. That did not help the movie at all last time. And if you go look over the cast of the first G.I. Joe, I'm not going to have to name names. You're going to see them and figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
So.
But before we get into Joe, I do want to mention one thing because we didn't get a chance to review it last week simply because of the fact that, as Oliver said, you know, he had all sorts of scheduling and a bit being sick.
I dress up and wear makeup at night. What can I say?
But you might want to clarify that one.
I'm just saying that's what I do.
Yeah, but you might want to clarify
job.
why you
and a completely legitimate job, but that's what I do. So I will leave it at that.
And it doesn't have anything to do with a poll. Okay, can you see this on a poll?
No. But I do have to. Sometimes my work
maybe
takes
a
me
telephone poll. You know?
Sometimes my work takes me into that. You could say I'm quasi in the entertainment field, I guess. So you know.
But I did want to make a mention about a movie that I got to see, and this is what we were planning on reviewing last week. Olympus Has Fallen, and it stars Gerard Butler and Morgan Freeman and Aaron Eckhart. Folks, I just want to say this. It's 4 stars plus. Make sure you get out and see this movie, Olympus Has Fallen. It's one of the best action films that's come out in many years. This will play on you as an action fig. If you like action films, you're going to love this one. If you like films that just make your patriotism rise, you will love this one. If you like films that have a hero that is just the ultimate hero, you will love this one. This is an excellent movie, big time, and you will absolutely love it.
And make sure a clone of the movie is going to be coming out in about 2 months called White House Down, which is very similar plot line, different actors. So we'll be curious to see what your review is of that when that comes out.
Jamie Foxx stars in that one.
Jamie Foxx is the president in that one.
Yeah.
And I'll be very curious to see what your review is of that one. As much as you liked Olympus Has Fallen, we'll see how White House Down does.
I've already seen Olympus. Now, this is Wednesday night. Olympus Has Fallen came out on Friday. Did not have a Thursday night premiere. I've already seen it 3 times.
Really?
Yes, and I will see it again.
It's like a E.T. or something.
Yeah, it is that good. It is that good. Now, on to the reason that we're here. Why are we here? Oh, yeah, G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe review, G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Retaliation with The Rock. Here it comes. All right. As Joe is over my shoulder, you like that? Joe over my shoulder? I know. I don't know where it came from either, but anyway. My hope with this was that it was going to be an improvement over the first one. I watched the first G.I. Joe, and I kept wondering where it was going to go because it was really convoluted. It bounced all over the place. It didn't have much of a storyline. It was just kind of there, you know, and I wasn't really that impressed with it, although it did pretty decent at the box office. Got really worried about this one when it was supposed to come out 1 year ago. It originally, like I said, I work at a movie theater, Frank Theaters here in Conway. It was originally scheduled for March. Then they backed it up to June. Then they backed it up to August. Then they backed it up to November. Then they backed it up to March of this year. That is not a good sign for a movie. And so I was really kind of concerned about this one, but they did put some star power in it, which the other one didn't have. It did have Channing Tatum in it before, but he was not a real, he was not really in the scene when it comes to big stars at the time that the original the first G.I. Joe came out. It had Dennis Quaid in it, but Dennis Quaid was just kind of a name they pulled out of the old archives. Well, this one pulls out Bruce Willis, who's been really big and in a lot of movies lately. It pulls out Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who just got through with a great movie called Snitch. And both of them are right now in the know when it comes to being star power, and they did pull it out. This was a much better Joe. Now, it's not going to go down in history as one of these great movies that you just got to see, and that's one of these movies that just makes it into the thing. But man, it is slam full of action. Dwayne Johnson does his usual good job with the sarcasm, a little bit of comedy in there, and The Rock rocks. That's all I can say. The Rock rocks. Has a pretty decent storyline. There's battle scenes on top of battle scenes on top of battle scenes. And I will say this too, for one person who is sick and tired of 3D movies, the 3D was not bad in this one because it was filmed in 3D, had some really good 3D effects in it. So I'm going to go with 3 stars on this, or 3 Dwayne Johnsons, or 3 Bruce Willises, however you want to do it. I would have given, if I were reviewing the first Joe here, the first Joe...
3 eyebrows.
3 eyebrows, yeah,
right.
3 eyebrows. There you go, for Dwayne Johnson. I would have given the first Joe a 1.5. I'm going to double it for this one and give it 3. This one's worth watching. It is a lot of fun. Has a great line that busted all of us up during the course of the movie. Not going to give it away, but it was probably one of the funniest lines I've heard in a movie in quite some time. So 3 eyebrows for G.I. Joe Retaliation.
After the first G.I. Joe movie, I guess my expectations for this movie was to just not to suck so bad. The first movie was so bad in the acting and the poor acting quality. The story was crap. The actors were crap. Marlon Wayans was in it. He's a comedian. He tried to play a serious role. Dennis Quaid decided to show up and cash a paycheck and not even try to act in the movie. And if you don't know my feelings on Channing Tatum by now, I mean, he's a good-looking kid, ain't so talented. That's just the way I see it. But anyways, in this movie here, there was some nice surprises. One of the great things about this movie that did redeem it, and I'm not going to say it's a great movie, don't get me wrong here. It's a good movie. It's a good action movie, and a lot of people out there are going to like it. If you like the first G.I. Joe, you're going to love this. One of the things, they let The Rock take the movie over. The Rock is the main star of the movie, so don't come in thinking you're going to see stripper boy Channing Tatum dancing it up. You know what I mean? I mean, he's not the main star. The main star is the guy who can actually act a little bit, and that's The Rock. Bruce Willis plays a small but pivotal role in it, and the action was well done. Sometimes over the top, but like Ken said, the 3D was done really well. One of my gripes about the movies, historical accuracy. I'm sick and tired of movies not researching where they're filming and looking up things. I mean, it's almost like these people don't know what Google Maps is or Google Earth, which I have on every PC at my house. Fort Sumter, which plays a prominent part in this movie towards the end, is shown almost underneath the Charleston Bridge. Now, any of us have gone to Fort Sumter, we know that it's not, or if any of us have Google Earth on our computer, free download, we know that it is, how far offshore, Ken?
Oh, it's 1.5 miles.
Mile and a half. You got to take a ferry all the way out there.
In the middle of the harbor.
It's a good ways from the Charleston Bridge.
It's a good way from anything.
He's out there by himself, right? They show it. Look, historical accuracy. Don't be so lazy, Hollywood. I mean, you can pull up Google Earth or pull up a satellite image and say, hey, that bridge ain't supposed to be there. Let's cut it out, or let's not make a bridge be right over top of it. The acting in this movie, a good bit better because of The Rock, because of Bruce Willis. It works a little better. It's a little more seamless. The story, believable enough for action. Not the most believable thing in the world, but I'm going to agree with Ken. We're going to go right side by side on this here. I got to give it over 50%, which would be 2.5 stars. So I'm going to have to go for 3 stars or 3 people's eyebrows because it is The Rock for G.I. Joe Retaliation. And worth spending your money on to go see in the theater because, and if you like the first G.I. Joe, you're going to think this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. So 3 stars for me, 3 stars for Ken. We're in total agreement for a change.
Yeah, I know. I don't think we've ever done that, have we?
I don't think it's been that. I don't think it's been the exact same rating. We've been close, but we both give it 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
And I want to give kudos to this director for. This is now a watchable franchise.
Yeah, it is.
After the first one, it's not watchable.
And it leaves openings. It left itself opening at the end with a couple of lines between The Rock and Bruce Willis
for a sequel.
That they're coming back,
of course,
in these two roles to make the Joe something worth watching.
Well, that would depend on box office receipts, of course, but you know.
Yeah, and this should do pretty good at the box office.
I think so, and I think that they're probably already in plans for another script.
Yeah.
Depending on after this weekend, after they see the receipts, they're going to be getting the plans for development for another script because now it's a redeemable franchise. What they did with this is what they tried to do with the second Fantastic Four movie and fell right on their face to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They failed with the first Fantastic Four. They made a little bit of money, but it was a really crappy movie.
Yeah.
So they said, well, we're going to break out the biggest name in Fantastic Four comics. We're going to bring in the Silver Surfer. That's going to redeem us.
Didn't.
Still a crappy movie. I mean, you know, it just didn't work.
Yeah.
They forgot the Silver Surfer's not an actor. He's CGI.
Yeah. Yeah, and one thing I do want to make a little side note here for you Brits out there. You are not going to like this one. There is a scene in this one that's going to tear your heart out. It really is, and it was actually done really good, to be honest with you. Because
it doesn't bother me so much. I mean, I don't lie about it, you know. I mean, I mean, so we're a little light on blood pudding this month.
Yeah, but next week's really an odd week.
Don't get your knickers in a twist.
Yeah,
that's what we're trying to say.
Next week's really an odd week. There's two movies coming out. One of them is a remake. Actually, a remastered.
And I really hate remakes.
Yeah.
Or reimaginings. Is this what we're calling this now? Is this the reimagining?
Yeah, reimagining, but one of them is a remaster. They have taken Jurassic Park in preparation for Jurassic Park 4, which comes out, I believe, next year.
Now that I can live with.
Yeah. And they have remastered it in 3D, and I will tell you this. Again, I mentioned earlier that I'm not much on 3D movies. I'm tired of them because they have just played them out too much with this post-production shadow box mess, not really filming it in 3Ds. They remastered Jurassic Park, and if 3D looked like this in every movie, I'd watch every single 3D movie. I've seen the trailer.
The trailer in 3D for a movie that was filmed in the early 90s is quite impressive.
Yes.
Because it looks better than, let's say, Hansel and Gretel in 3D.
Which it looked better than G.I. Joe, which was filmed in 3D.
And it's almost like they came and remastered the film, made a digital print, then went back from scratch.
For those of you who saw Avatar, which is probably one of the best 3D movies ever made, it is on the same level as Avatar. And I'll give you an example. The scene where Jeff Goldblum is in the Jeep and the T-Rex is coming at him, you're in the Jeep with him. That's the way.
That was kind of cool looking.
Yeah, that's the way a 3D movie is supposed to do. It's supposed to pull you into the movie.
I heard Avatar was like no other, though.
Yeah.
I heard Avatar was almost like you were in.
Yeah, it pulls you into the movie. Things surrounded your head.
I was actually told this by a guy who ate mushrooms and went and saw it.
Yeah. No, I actually saw it without the mushrooms.
I want to get another person's opinion because everybody else had to watch something.
Yeah, there were times when I watched Avatar that I was looking around me thinking
okay, so it wasn't just the mushrooms.
Yeah, no, the mushrooms.
Okay, my friend assured me, he said, I don't know if it was the mushrooms or what it was, but he was like, stuff was going around you, man. And I was like, maybe he ate too many mushrooms.
I can guarantee you, too, that the mushrooms had an after effect that mine didn't have.
Right.
Right. But we're not going to be able to review that since it doesn't start till Friday. The Thursday night premiere next week is a remake of a cult classic.
A classic comedy slash horror film. And now they're going to take the comedy out of it.
Making it serious.
And Evil Dead. They're going to ruin it.
But I will give them kudos. There may be a little more comic in this than it seems in the previews. And I'll tell you why. If you look on YouTube and you see these advertisements for Evil Dead that are on the beginning of many YouTube videos, and you have that little box in the right-hand corner that says skip this ad in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The iconic little figure that's sticking its head up out of the cellar is going, don't skip this ad, don't skip this ad, don't skip this ad, don't skip this ad, all the way down through the countdown. So there could be some comedic portions too.
Maybe there will be, but the great thing about Evil Dead is that Sam Raimi tried to make a serious horror movie. They came back and started watching the dailies with the cinematographer and all the people who would watch the dailies of a film while they're filming it. And they were all laughing hysterically. Yeah. And they said, you know what, we need to flip this movie and how we think about this movie because these scenes are really funny. It was not intended to be a comedy.
No.
But it was so funny by them watching the dailies and they were all just laughing. They said, why don't we make fun of a horror movie? while we're doing this,
Yeah,
and try to make something with a lot of humor in it. And it traveled on to Evil Dead 2 and then Army of Darkness, the third one, which all were funny movies. But it all started out
Which
on
they're also remaking, by the way.
With both of them?
Army of Darkness, yeah, it's being remade.
Why would they remake it? That's a movie from the 90s.
I know. And you got to do it with Bruce Campbell, because Bruce Campbell was Army
Bruce
of Darkness.
Campbell's still around.
Yeah, he was in Oz.
You know, Hollywood needs some really good script. If anybody out there writes script for a living, just send it in to some studios. They need them bad.
So next week we're going to be taking a look at Evil Dead, and you can tell
have to watch that.
You can tell we're already thrilled and excited to the nth degree.
Oh well, you know, they remade Halloween. All bets are off. So,
yeah, Rob Zombie.
What a piece of crap that was.
Yeah. So until next week, when we are Evil Dead.
I'll be taking a nap right here. Right here.
So we will see you next week here with Phat Guys at the Movies.
I'm Oliver.
I'm Ken.
We'll see you next week. Be there or be evilly dead or something.
Yeah.